roll. Did I give it back to you, Debbie?
Okay, can you guys see my slides okay?
Yes.
All right, let me just open up my chat window here real quick so I can keep an eye on that. Okay, there we go. That should be the beginning slide. Okay, so Marianne, I guess you're not going to do my introduction. For those of you who do not know me, I am Debbie Lewis. I have been, I work in the Learning and Organizational Development unit here at OSU Extension. The first part of my career, I spent as a 4-H agent in Lorain County. I was 1 year in Scioto County as a 4-H agent. And then I came down to the state office and worked in the program development and evaluation unit, we were calling back then, as resource planning analyst. And I was responsible for doing our federal report and training people how to use our reporting systems and supporting people when they were developing evaluations and things like that. So then I moved into the leader position for that job or that unit. And then we, in 2018, the Learning and Organizational Development unit was formed, and PDE and a few other entities kind of rolled into that Learning and Organizational Development unit. So now I serve as the resource planning analyst. I'm still kind of doing the same things I was doing before. So I still help people with program development and evaluation questions and training and the reporting system. And I'm also responsible for our federal report because, as you know, we're a land grant institution and we have to report to the National Institute of Food and Agriculture once a year in March. And so I'm responsible for filling that report out for the extension side of the college. So I'm here to talk to you about Qualtrics and just a little introduction into building a survey. So I just wanted to provide a few helpful links for you. First of all is our LOD website. So that is extension.osu.edu/LOD. And I'll try to put some of these into the chat box, or if Marianne or Shalise want to, oops, I forgot my //
I can get them in there for you, Debbie.
There you go. Now it works. Okay. The next one is the Qualtrics link. It's a Go link that I use to get to Qualtrics. So go.osu.edu/Qualtrics. And then if you want to view the blog for Qualtrics at the university, it's just change that first thing from a Go into a u.osu.edu/Qualtrics. But the Go link is how I usually log into Qualtrics.
Dave's in the fields and Treva's not feeling well.
Go ahead, Don. Oh, okay. Maybe you were talking to somebody else. So the agenda for today, I'm going to show you the homepage and what that looks like. And by the way, that homepage is changing on November 6th in Qualtrics. I'm going to show you how to access help in Qualtrics because maybe I'm not available to help you out. Maybe you just have a quick question that you want to see if you can search the help guides to find an answer to it. I'm going to show you the survey builder environment and the Qualtrics environment in general. I'm going to go through some different question types. The ones that we use most often in extension is what I'm going to touch on today because we only have an hour, well, here today. So, and then I'm going to show you a few things in the survey menu to kind of change the look and feel of your survey and then check out some of those survey options. First, I have a list of accessible question types and non-accessible question types, and this is really just for your reference. We do not use all these different types of questions in Qualtrics in extension. So this is really just for a resource for you. because even though some of these are listed on the non-accessible side of this slide, you can probably still use them. You just need to ask for permission from the Qualtrics brand admin team to do that. And I can instruct you how to do that as well. So I'm going to get out of the slideshow. And I'm going to go ahead and get into Qualtrics. So are you seeing Qualtrics or are you still seeing my Zoom screen?
We're saying Qualtrics.
Okay, thanks. All right, so this is what the new homepage looks like. You're seeing my Qualtrics homepage, right? Over here on the left-hand side, you can see your list of recently visited surveys. You can also click to see all projects. And then it has some notifications here. Since I support the entire college on Qualtrics, I'm the Qualtrics division administrator. I have a lot of surveys in my account, and I also help out a lot of people. So there's several different ways that you can build a survey, and one of them is to get to it from this page. But before I do that, I wanted to show you real quick how to access the help in Qualtrics. So up in the right-hand corner, you'll see this little question mark here. If I click on that question mark, I can have two different options. If I just choose to go to the support site, I can just click there and it'll take me to the support site. I don't have to be logged in, and I can look for whatever it is that I want to find. So say I want a list of the question types that are in Qualtrics. I just type in what I'm searching for, and it'll take me to a page. This will show me several different places in the support pages. There's also community, a Qualtrics community, where users of Qualtrics will go in, and it's kind of like a forum where you can type a question and get it answered by Qualtrics users like you. It's not necessarily a person at the Qualtrics company answering your question. So I'm just going to click on this first one here that shows me the different question types. And then it'll open up a page and show me the question types, and I can read to my heart's content about the different question types. The other way I can get support is by contacting support. So if I click on contact support, that's going to take me to a different page. And this is where people often get stuck. Don't type your username and password here under the Qualtrics. You have to go underneath the sign in button and click in this little sign in with SSO. And then for organization ID, you're going to type in OSU and you're going to say continue. And since I'm already logged in, it will take me right there. If I had not been logged in, then it would take me to the thing that you're used to seeing with other systems in Ohio State. So it would ask me for my username and my password for Ohio State. Usually when I'm accessing the support for actually contacting somebody at Qualtrics, I click on this little bottom right-hand button that says I have a different support request. And I select the survey platform in this dropdown. And then you have three different options. You can either do a live chat, like synchronous, talking with someone from Qualtrics. You can do an email, or you can do the phone call. I have used all three of these successfully. I usually try the chat first, because if it's just a quick question that I need some help with, and yes, even though I've been using Qualtrics for 7 years, I still have questions about Qualtrics and trying to use it. So we all have questions, and this is how you can get support directly from Qualtrics. Now, everybody at the university starts off with a student trial level account through Qualtrics. And if you want to upgrade that account, which most of you will want to, because you'll want to be able to distribute the surveys that you create and collaborate with others, et cetera, then you'll just contact me. And if one of you could type in my email address, it's lewis.205 at osu.edu. And then I will send you an upgrade code to have the standard account for Qualtrics. All right, so that's a little bit about the homepage. The new homepage, you can, again, look at notifications that you've got. You can look at the most recently visited surveys. You can create a new project, or you can see all projects. I'm going to go ahead and click on the create a new project here. And then I'm going to start, because we're starting from scratch, I'm going to click on this survey option here. Over here on the right-hand side, you'll see another menu open up. If you want to get some help from Qualtrics, you can just click right there where it says learn how to create a survey. And then you can walk through their help screens on creating a survey. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Get Started button. And then there's several different ways that you can create that survey. Okay, so I'm just going to call my survey and name my survey so that I don't have a bunch of untitled project names in my my list of projects. I'm going to put it in my all projects. I can select several different folders. And when you're just starting out, you're not going to have a bunch of folder names, but I'm going to go ahead, because I have multiple surveys. I've got 500 surveys in my list. I'm going to go ahead and put this into my demo folder because I know it doesn't have very many surveys in it. And then how do you want to start? So I can create a blank survey project, which is what I'm going to show you, but you can also import from a library, which I can show you in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and click on this create a survey. All right. So now we're in a different environment. We're in an actual survey. You can see my question type sample is my survey name here at the top. If I want to change that, I can add to that. Nobody is going to see this survey name, except for when you're sending like a confirmation email after somebody has completed your survey. So this is something that's really like for your own use. If you need to name it a certain way, you can always put a different name on the actual survey, and I can show you that next. So once I'm in this environment, you'll see several different sections. Over here on the right-hand side is my survey builder, where I'm going to be adding my questions. Over here in the middle, if I want to edit a question block, which is basically like a page of a survey, this is my block menu. And then over here is my survey menu on the far left. You can see these 4 icons. So we're going to start with the question. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the question that popped up first. I'm going to change the type of question this is. And like I said, there's a really long list of different types of questions that you can add, but I'm going to show you the most used ones. So once I have clicked on the question here in this blue box, it will give me the question menu. So this is the edit question menu that's popped up here over on the left. So I want to change this question type from a multiple choice to a text or graphic question. And this will be just like a display question. It won't be anything that a person who's taking your survey can respond to. So I'm just going to pop some like basic information into this box where it says click to write question text. I'm going to click there and it's going to turn blue. So I can use the I can just paste some information from a Word document, for example, and then it just populates that question, okay? Now, if I want to make this look better, because it's just a bunch of unformatted text right now, which you can see by previewing the question. You can click on this little ... preview question. And then this is what that question would look like on a survey. So I want to make that look a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my question again, the text of my question. And I'm going to click up here on the left-hand side that says Rich Content Editor. And I'm going to do a little bit of formatting to this. So I want this to have some line breaks in here. So I'm going to move this to another line. The location, I'm going to move to the next line. The date, I'm going to move to the next line. And then this information about who the banquet is for, I'm going to put down at the bottom. I also want to make this text bold, and I want to center it, and maybe I want to increase the font size to like 24, make it big. All right, and then I'm going to leave the rest there. Okay. So now you'll see that this looks funny on the screen right here, but when I click on that preview question again, by clicking on this ... over here on the right, click on preview question, you can see it looks different than it did the first time we looked at it. Okay, so it's holding that font that I've just edited. So that's the first question type. It's called, again, text graphic. The next question type I want to show you, and this is how you can add more questions. Just click on this little, there's a couple of different ways. You can click to add a new question. Then I can also click on this little plus symbol. When I'm hovering over here, there is a plus below, a minus in the middle, and then a plus above. If I wanted to add a new question above it, I click on that plus symbol at the top. If I want to delete this question, I click here. If I want to add a question below it, I can click on this button. Okay, and again, the default question type is multiple choice. And that's the next question type I want to show you, though. Maybe you're setting up a registration for a program in the county. So I want to collect the contact information for somebody. So I want to change that from a multiple choice to something called a form field question. And this is where you can have multiple items where they fill it in under one question, okay? So I want to ask them for their contact information. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to say, please provide your contact information. And then I want to ask for their first name, last name, email address, and phone number. So all I need to do is, if I have those fields typed out somewhere, I can just copy and paste them into here. So I just highlighted that, click to write choice 1, and I'm pasting it. And then all 4 of my choices get, or options or fields get entered in there into 4 different boxes, which is exactly what I want. If I wanted to add something else besides phone number, like mailing address, I just click on that phone number one, and I can do, and I hit the enter key. And I can add mailing address as a field. So some validation that you want to do on this type of form field question would be, you want to make sure they provide you with a valid email address. For example, you don't want them to give you a bogus email address. You also want to make sure that they give you a valid phone number, US phone number usually. So I'm going to click this button here that says click to edit validation. So next to the email address, I'm going to go ahead and put valid email. Next to the phone number, I'm going to go ahead and click no validation and change that to US phone number. Now, say I don't need the mailing address from everybody, like that's not a required field. I don't want everybody to fill that in, or they don't have to fill it in, but I do want to make sure that I at least get their first name and last name. I can click over here under no validation, and I'm going to say force response for these first two. Okay, so I've edited the form fields, and I can go back to this preview mode. So the first name is a force response. The last name is a force response. Email address is asking for a valid email address. That means it can't be an empty field. They can't skip that. They have to enter that email address. The phone number has to have a valid US phone number in it. Mailing address, there's no validation, so that's not required. So other ways that you can force people to fill out questions, sometimes we need to make sure they fill out a question so that we can use like a build logic to, show the questions that are pertinent to that person. So over here on the right hand or the left hand side again in this question menu, you can click on add requirements and say force response. Under the response requirements section. That puts in a little asterisk up here next to this question. And it's going to force them to fill out the entire question. So they won't be able to leave the page without filling out their mailing address as well when you use the force response over here on the left-hand side. And you guys, I know I'm going like kind of fast, but I want to be able to show you the different question types and get this recorded so that if you want to come back to it at a later date, you can do that. But if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box and I'll try to answer them as I go along. The next type of question, I'm going to go ahead and use this little add a new question button over here. And with this one, I can select the question type. So I want to go ahead and do this text entry type question. Let's say I want to know the 4-H member's date of birth as a question. So I would type that in here. Okay, and then for this, it's going to be a text entry question, but I want to make sure they're giving me a date and not like they're not typing in the word January 15th, in whatever year they were born. So I'm going to go ahead and do a different type of validation for this question. And again, I'm on this question, so it's highlighted, it's got a blue box around it. That's how I know that I'm editing this question. The text type I'm asking for is a single line, but under response requirements, I'm going to add a validation similar to what we did on the first question, but it was a form field type. This is for the entire question. So adding validation, I want this to be a content validation. So I'm going to click on this box here that says minimum length. And I'm going to go ahead and do a content type. And then the default setting is email address, but I want it to be a number. So I'm just going to click on that drop down and select number. Well, actually, no, I don't want number, do I? I want a date. Sorry. So date format is what I would be selecting. And then I would usually leave it as month, month, day, day, year, year. With 4 digits. And I also would put this in here with the format so that when they enter it, they can see that at the beginning when they're entering that data instead of trying to go to the next page of your survey and then realizing that they used the wrong format because it will ask it in that format. So the next question type I wanted to show you is similar to this, kind of what I just did by mistake. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new question. Oh, let me just show you, there's a third way that you can do a new question. Say I want to copy this question. I can just do click on this little dot, click on copy. And then I can see that this question has been copied. But I don't want it to be their birth date because I've already asked that. I could follow it up with how old is the 4-H member, but I'm going to go ahead and say, ask them how many years they've been in 4-H. Okay, so I need to edit my validation on here because a date will no longer work because I'm asking for a number of years. So I'm just going to come back over here and edit my content validation. And instead of date format, content type is going to be a number. And this way, they'll only be able to enter a number. And they won't type the word like 8 years or 10 years. And that way you can do math on that field. So if you want to find out the average number of years that 4-H member, they've been in 4-H in your county, you can figure that out by doing an average on this field. Whereas if it's not set to content type number validation, then they can type pretty much anything in there, which would take some data cleanup on your part to try to figure out if you want to like do math on that field. Another question type that is used a lot in Extension is a drop-down question. Okay, so I'm going to click on a little add new question over here. And you're not going to see drop-down in this list. You will see something called a drill down. And let me caution you, do not use the drill down. This is something for, let's say you're asking for their make and model of their car. Okay, so you would start off with, you know, is it Ford? Is it a Mazda? Is it a Nissan? Whatever it is, that would be the type of car. And then, you know, is it a Mazda 6? Is it a Mazda 3? Is it that would be the drill down. So once they've selected Mazda, then they'll see all the different types of Mazdas as a second question. So stay away from the drill down because that's kind of like your filtering. The drop down is going to be under multiple choice. So again, I've clicked on that add a new question and then selected multiple choice as my question type. And then over here, where it says on the left-hand side, where we're looking at the question menu again, where it says format instead of list, we're going to do drop down. Okay, so you can see I have the click to write the question text, and then I have a space where it says click here to edit choices and click to write choice 1. So let's get the question in here first. So I want them to select their 4-H club from a dropdown. Now I want those 4-H club names to appear in this dropdown. So I can click on the click here to edit choices. And then I can just go to my Excel file. Hold on just a second. Sorry. I had my my Teams and Skype on do not disturb, and they seem to have gone away from do not disturb. So apologies. All right, so select your 4-H club from the drop-down list. And now I'm going to go and find my list of 4-H clubs. So I happen to have an export from an Excel file from 4-H Online. Can you see that okay? I'm assuming you can. So thanks, Shalise. This screen here is just the report that came out of 4-H Online, and I just copied and pasted it to a second sheet. And now I'm going to go and copy all the club names here. And I'm going to do a Control-C or right-click and select copy, whatever is your pleasure. I'm a keyboard shortcut kind of person. Then I'm going back to my survey. I'm going to click in that first box, and I'm going to do Control-V. And my screen is going to freak out on me. But you can see that list now, right? So it's put all of them in a separate line. Now, if I go back to preview mode, this is what it's going to appear like for them. Okay, so that's how you do a drop-down question. And you can see here that there are 67 choices in that drop-down. Another way to get to edit a drop-down list is you can click on this little edit multiple over here on the left-hand side in the question menu again. And it opens up a box, and you can like delete all these things that are in here, and then just paste that list into this big box. So a couple different ways that you can edit that drop-down list style question. All right, so the next question type is another multiple choice question type. This one is going to be where they can only select one answer. So I'm going to do add a new question. I'm just going to do the multiple choice. And then my question is going to be, what's your job title? And they can only pick one answer. And hold on just a second. Okay, so here I have a list of job titles. You can see the list is a little bit long. So another way that you can format a multiple choice question, and there are multiple choices here, but we only want them to be able to pick one answer. And that's what this little circle represents, is that they can only pick one answer. And that's also up here under answer type, allow one answer. Now, if this looks like a lot of choices on our page, so I like to spread out the list a little bit if it's got more than 5 options here. So over here under format, I'm going to leave it as list, but for alignment, I'm going to select column. So I can have 2 columns, I can have 3 columns. And this is how it would appear on the screen for people to select, instead of taking up a lot of space where it's a long list. Now you'll see their answer over here for other. If you have a multiple choice question where they can select other, make sure that you provide them with the opportunity to describe what that other is. So I can do that by clicking on this option. I'm going to say, please describe, if I can spell. And then for this dropdown, I'm going to click on the dropdown right next to the word other, please describe. And I'm going to click on allow text entry. And that will give them a box that they can type in if they have selected that other option. Okay. Now let's say I want to make this question so that they can select multiple answers. And I'm just going to use this one as an example because it's faster than trying to type a new question. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this question. So click up in the upper right-hand corner on the ... again. And then I'm going to copy. And then I'm going to go ahead and I will change this from a single response to a multiple answer. So allow multiple answers and watch what the little circles do. It turns from a circle into a checkbox. And that means that they can select more than one option on this list when they're answering the question. All right, so Angelia, you just asked a very good question. She asked if there was a way to limit the number of options that they select. And yes, that's over here in the question menu. So this is a multiple answer, allow multiple answers. And over down here, we can, I think it's under add validation, minimum choices selected. They have to at least check one. You can also do, I think there's a maximum. Yeah, there we go. So if you want them to, from this list of 14, you want them to select no more than 4 options. Minimum of 1 means they have to select at least 1. Maximum of 4, it means they can select up to 4. Does that answer your question? Great question. Okay. Multiple choice. You can also, there's another way to add questions, and that is by importing them from a library. And this library could be your own library. It might be the OSU Extension library, because I have created an OSU Extension user group. There is a library associated with that group. So if I want to add another question down here below this one, I'm going to go ahead and click on the import from library. It's going to take a second to bring me a library. I'm going to use the OSU Extension library, but if you wanted to import from another existing survey of your own that you have, you could scroll down to the bottom and click on My Surveys. But I know the question that I'm looking for does live in the OSU Extension library, so I'm going to click there. And I'm looking for where do you live in Ohio? Like, what county do you live in? So that's a question that's in the library. I know it's in the library. So I can just go and look for that question. So I know it's in the question library under participant registration, or at least this is where I had it. And then you can see all the questions that are in this question library. So I'm going to pick on this, in which Ohio county do you live question, and I'm going to import that one question from the library. So now I have that question in my survey with very little effort. Okay, so that's another way that you can add a question. I'm going to show you one other question type, because I feel like you might be asked to do that question type, and that's a matrix question. So I'm going to click on the add a new question, and I'm going to do a matrix table. And then I'm going to click to write the question text. And then this is going to be, how satisfied were you with the training? And then I want to, Qualtrics is smart. It will give you some, it will read your question. And do you see how it just gave me some suggested, a suggested scale here? So that's really helpful. It doesn't always do that, but it's nice if it does. But if you want to, like, this is a 5-point scale here. Let's say you didn't want this middle one. You don't want people to be able to sit on the fence. You can delete this point in the scale by clicking on it and say remove scale point. Now we've changed our 5-point scale to a 4-point scale. Now I've done that, and that means that it is like it's permanent. So if I had instead used this scale points over here in the question menu on the left, if I had used this scale points and just decreased it from 5 to 4, it would have taken away extremely satisfied from off of my scale. So you'll see if I click on this minus, it took away that extremely satisfied. If I click on the plus, it put it back. But if I click on another plus, see what it did? It put my neither satisfied nor dissatisfied in the wrong place, because we really want this scale to be, if it should be a increasing scale, this point should be in the middle of it. So I'm going to go ahead and take that back off by clicking on this little minus symbol over here. That's the fastest way for me. Okay, so this is a matrix style question. So what is it that we were asking for people to tell us about this training? Instead of click to write statement 1, or you don't want that to appear on your survey. You want to actually put statements in here. So maybe I'm going to ask about the quality of the how satisfied are you with the quality of the training? How satisfied were you with the length of time? So we have 2 different options there to fill out in this matrix style question. Okay, so that was the last question type I was going to show you. If anybody else wants me to demonstrate a different question type that you think you might get. We've looked at the multiple choice, the text entry, we showed the text graphic, we showed the matrix table, and we showed the form field. The slider is one of those non-accessible question types, so I really don't want to like show you that one. So that's it for question types. As you are building your survey, it's a really good idea to use this preview button, okay? And this will show you what the survey looks like. So this is what my survey is going to look like. And then I can click on my next button. And since this is only a 1-page survey, oh, but it has told me that I have to enter information here, right? This is what happens if they don't enter the information. I'm just going to do that. I didn't make any of these other questions required, so I can go ahead and click on the next button. Now, if you're testing a survey out and you don't want to keep doing that because it's a multiple page survey, you don't want to have to keep entering the required fields, you can come over here to the tools on the upper right-hand side and say ignore validation. But I would warn you, make sure you keep that validation on until you've tested to make sure that your validation is working. So when I come back over here to edit the survey, I want to show you a couple of other things real quick. First of all, under the survey options, so there's under the survey menu, there's 4 different icons here. The bottom one is the survey options. I'm going to click there. I'm going to come over here, and under responses, I'm going to go ahead and turn my back button on. I don't have multiple pages on my survey, but I can show you how to fix that in a second. So I want to make sure that they can go back if they want to change an answer on an earlier question. This is also where I can edit the incomplete survey responses. If I get some incompletes, if somebody abandons their survey and doesn't finish it, I can decide what to do with those incomplete responses. So what I typically do is I go ahead and record them, but I've changed this time to something that I know is going to be well beyond when my survey will close. In that way, when I'm closing my survey, I can make the decision whether to keep the people who started my survey and didn't finish it, or if I just want to delete all those responses before I can download my information. The other thing I want to show you over here is look and feel. So you see that the template that we're using right now is the general one for The Ohio State University, actually the College of Medicine. So I'm going to click on this theme and I'm going to make this look more extension-y. Yes, that's a word. When I clicked on the word theme, you'll see this menu pop up in the middle here. I'm going to scroll down. Hopefully nobody gets seasick here to where it says blank. I want to make this look like an extension survey. Okay. Now there's a couple things that I need to fix here. So first of all, under layout, I don't really do anything there. I just leave it like that. Under general, for accessibility purposes, screen readers can't read these images like the arrow image. So I go in here and I change these to, so my next button says next and my back button says back. So if I scroll down to the bottom of the page here, you can see my next button now looks like the word next instead of that arrow. Also down on this, I want you to put a footer down here so that it looks like the new OSU extension footer. So I'm going to click on edit underneath the word footer. I'm going to go to my library and I'm going to pick an image. I'm actually going to go to the OSU Extension library because just this morning I added some new artwork. So this is going to be, I want to make this look like I'm on the footer. So I want to get a footer in here and I'm going to make this a 4-H branded survey. So I'm going to click this one that has Union County 4-H and I'm going to click on save. And then I'm going to go to the style and I'm going to change my colors of my buttons to Scarlet, our approved Scarlet, which is BB and 4 zeros, the easiest hex number to remember. For foreground contrast, for accessibility purposes, I'm going to bump this up to either medium or high. I'm going to go ahead and reduce the text size of my questions and answers because it's kind of big on the page and you can see what it does. Now my answers are a little bit smaller and my text is a little bit smaller. Let's say I want all of my questions to be bolded. I can click on this little B next to question text and it automatically bolds all of my question stems. And I don't have to do any extra work. It just automatically does that. I skip the motion one and I go to logo. Let me make sure there's nothing else here. No. So logo. And this is where I'm going to put that new header. So I'm going to click up here where it says logo image and change image. And I'm going to again go to the OSU Extension library. And I'm going to click on this logo that has the CFAES and the college name spelled out. So I'm going to go ahead and click on apply. And then I'm going to go back to the survey by clicking either on this clipboard, the upper left, or I'm going to click on the word survey. Okay. Now, when I click on preview, it looks different, right? It's got that college logo or college bar up at the top. It's got the tag and the name of the college spelled out. I've got that 4-H green in there. I might still do something with this because this looks a little crunched to me. But you can see that the other font has been, changed like we changed it in the look and feel. So here's all my questions. And then you'll see at the bottom, we have that footer below the next button. This happens to be for Union County. So I can click on the next button. And you see that's the Scarlet OSU red instead of the blue of the Qualtrics colors. And again, it's going to tell me that I need to answer those. I'm going to click on that ignore validation and click on the next button. And then you'll see that default end of survey message. Couple other things. If I wanted this to be multiple pages, I could either add more blocks, like I can move some of these questions to a different block, or I can just add page breaks. So say I want to add a page break here between the select your 4-H club and what is your job title. This will make it when I preview that survey again, now I'll have a 2-page survey. Where I can select the back button if I wanted to. Okay, so that's look and feel. And how you can get your survey to look branded. Now you can just leave it as the Ohio State University logo in the upper left-hand corner if you want to, but that's how you can change the look and feel of your survey. Now I said a little bit earlier that everybody at Ohio State starts off with a student trial Qualtrics account. If you have created a new survey and you try to add more than 20 questions and it will not let you, or if you don't have this distributions tab here in the upper left and you are the one that created the survey, then you just need to upgrade your account. Again, contact me and I can send you the upgrade code and instructions on how to upgrade. That was the last thing that I had to show on my agenda. Do I have any other questions? I know it has been whirlwind, really fast and furious, but feel free to unmute yourself or type questions in the chat. I did tell you that I was going to show you how you could import an entire survey from a library to create a survey. So let me show you that real quick. So I can go back to my home page, click on this See All Projects. And then I'm going to go ahead and click here where it says create a project. So it's just in a different location. It's kind of the same process though. Click on the word survey and then get started over here on the right. And then this time I'm going to say import survey example. And I'm going to again put this in my demo folder. And I'm going to copy, I'm going to use a survey from your library. Even though it says the word your, this is where you access any of the surveys in any of the libraries that you have access to. So here's where you can select the library. I'm going to import this from the OSU Extension library. I'm going to go ahead and select a survey. I know it's under participant registration. I'm going to do a OSU Extension registration with no fee for a virtual meeting. So I'm going to click on Create Project. And my computer is going to think for several minutes. And then you can see this survey has been imported and the questions are here and I can edit it for my own purposes. You can see this one uses multiple blocks. So we have a default question block up here. And then the second question block asks for the reg data. Say the educator has decided they don't want to collect reg data during the reg data means race, ethnicity, and gender. It doesn't mean registration. It's not short for registration. If the educator decides they want to collect that information during the actual program or training, you can get rid of this entire block by clicking on this little dot in the upper right-hand corner and then say delete. And that will get rid of the entire question block. Okay. So those are 3 different ways that you can create a survey. Ooh, I forgot to show you the last way. So you want to copy one from your own list. So if you look at your projects and say I want to copy the one that we just did on the question type samples, I can come over here on the right-hand side. And again, I can click on copy project here. And it'll ask the same types of questions. Where do you want this to go? I want this to go into my account. And then I can change the name here, or I can just leave it the same. And then I want it to go in the demo folder. I can say copy project. So say you do a registration for a training in January, and they decide they want to do the same training just on a different date. You copy that survey and then do just edit the copy for the next iteration or even for the next year. Is there a way to limit the number of participants for a survey for training days? Yes, I would call that more of an advanced feature in Qualtrics, but just so you know, it is under the survey options. And then this is under advanced and it's quotas. So that's what you would be working with. And if you need some help with that, I can have a session with you, or you can try to look it up on Qualtrics Help and see if you can figure it out. I also have a, just real quick, I have formed a Teams in Microsoft Teams, a Qualtrics and Nelnet support team. It doesn't have to have a Nelnet question. If you just have general questions about Qualtrics, just ask me and I can put you on that Microsoft Teams, and you can search the chats and the messages there and look for support from fellow people who are also trying to work in Qualtrics and figure this thing out. So with that, I've gone over by 1 minute. Anybody else have other questions? I feel like you guys have been really, really quiet. Okay.
It's a lot to take in, Debbie.
So Shalise, are you asking me to take a look at your evaluation survey?
Yeah, my personal survey.
Oh yes, I can help you with that, Shalise.
Okay, thank you.
And you guys can contact me in Microsoft Teams. You can contact me using email. I didn't show you how to collaborate on a survey. I can show you that real quick. People share surveys with me, and that's how I help them. So let me just show you that real quick. And if I'm in my list of, there's a couple different ways to do it actually, now that they've changed their format. So up here next to tools, when I'm in a survey, I can click on collaborate here. Now, if I'm not the original creator of this survey, I may not have this collaborate, or it may be grayed out. So if I want to share this with somebody, I'm going to share this with Marianne. I can click on add here. Once I pick her name in the dropdown, and then I can add her a message, add a message to it if I want, and explain the survey. And then I can also edit the type of access that she's been given. And then I just click on that save button. And now Marianne has a copy of that survey. So it's really that simple. That's one way you can save it, share it with other people. The other way is to look in your list of surveys over on that ... on the right-hand side. There's also the option to collaborate. And again, you have to be the survey owner to be able to collaborate. So when I did a new share, it closed my chat box. Can you add me to the teams as well? Okay, so yes, I'm looking at people's names and I'll get you added.
I'm typing the names down too for you, Debbie.
Oh,
And
that would be great. Thank you so much.
Deb Walters asked about a template in the library for pesticide and fertilization recertification.
Yes, we don't have one of those, but I could probably find someone who has done it and get a copy to you, Deb. Are there resources for county offices to write questions, not the technical Qualtrics, but wording? So yes, that's something that LOD folks can help you out with. And if I go back to my slideshow, okay, but I have to do the new share. So hold on just a second. Okay, so there's contact information. I can help you out with the wording of questions and that type of thing. Brian can help out and T as well, the director for LOD. So there are a number of templates in that OSU Extension library, but again, you have to have your account upgraded. And then also I need to add you to the OSU Extension user group. So if you have not gotten that upgrade request or to me, go ahead and do that. And I'll send you the instructions. And then once you've upgraded your account, then I can add you into the OSU Extension user group, where you can access all of those things in the OSU Extension library that I was showing you. If no other questions, I mean, I can stick around for a couple minutes. Shalise, I don't think the next one is starting right away, right?
Nope, we're done for today.
Oh, you're done for the day.
Yes.